Enjoy your time here and find peace in the stories we tell. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. My brother, Felix, fled right before his wedding day, catching the entire Chen family completely off guard. Left with no other choice, I had to don my brother's identity, step into the ceremonial hall in his place, and marry the sworn sister I had known since childhood. However, when the red bridal veil was lifted, the face revealed before my eyes was not that of the familiar bride, but rather her own brother. That person was none other than the young General Kenneth Pei, a man whose fame shook the region and whose reputation resounded throughout Liangzhou. At that moment, his handsome and elegant face remained as calm as ever. Deliberately pitching his voice high to mimic a woman, he spoke leisurely. "Husband, it is time to drink the nuptial wine. I have already pushed the cup away 3 times. The general showed not a hint of annoyance, patiently offering it a 4th time, his voice gentle and carrying a trace of a smile. "Husband, a spring night is worth 1,000 gold. After finishing the union cup, we should proceed to the bridal chamber." I raised my head to look at the handsome face wearing the phoenix crown and draped in a red robe. His appearance was exquisitely beautiful, making it hard to distinguish male from female, yet he was clearly a full head taller than me. My throat tightened, and I could not utter a single word. Damn it all. This marriage was originally bestowed by the Son of Heaven, yet it ended up with a bride who is a man in disguise and a groom who is a woman in disguise. If this matter were to reach Emperor Julian's ears, I do not know how many heads from the Pei and Chen families would have to fall to satisfy him. My train of thought was not yet finished when Kenneth leaned in close, lowering his voice with a clear threat. "Second Miss Chen, the people from the palace are still waiting outside. You would not want your brother and my sister to be exiled to the remote frontiers, would you? Whether the Pei and Chen families form one couple or two, a marriage is still a marriage. After all, we have already bowed to heaven and earth. We are husband and wife. You should drink this cup of wine. Kenneth, you rank 3rd on the list of ideal husbands for the noble ladies of the capital, while I am just a hollow eldest daughter, unskilled in music, chess, calligraphy, or painting. It seems I am making quite a profit from this deal." I gritted my teeth, made up my mind, linked arms with him, and drained the cup of nuptial wine. That night, the dragon and phoenix candles burned brightly, the bed frame creaked incessantly, and the scent of wine mixed with rouge swirled like a galaxy throughout the long night. Before the moment I drifted off to sleep, only 2 thoughts lingered in my mind. Clearly I am the groom, so why am I the one underneath? And it is no wonder this dog of a man held a general's position at such a young age. He truly has ability. The next morning, while I was still half asleep, someone's calloused fingers brushed against me, causing goosebumps to rise all over my body. In my dream, I threw a left hook and then a right hook, shouting loudly. How bold, daring to disturb my dream. My hands were pinned down, and my whole body was pulled into a warm embrace as hearty laughter rang in my ears. "No wonder my sister keeps praising you as adorable." I opened my eyes, my mind gradually clearing from the haze. Looking at the messy room, my heart was as tangled as a ball of yarn. Before I could fully recover, I was dragged away to offer tea. When my father saw Kenneth dressed in women's clothing and me wearing men's attire, he could only sigh, rubbing his forehead with a bitter smile. Just destroy it all. My mother hesitated for a moment before finally taking out a jade bracelet she had prepared. Looking at Kenneth's large hands with prominent knuckles as he raised the teacup, her eyes revealed her awkwardness. "I fear this bracelet will not fit. Perhaps next time." "Next time, Mother will prepare a different gift." Kenneth mimicked the gesture of a noble daughter, covering his mouth and laughing charmingly. "Mother is too shy." Immediately after, rumors spread outside that my father, who loved his child like his own life, had used tea sprayed from his mouth to wash my face early in the morning. "Husband, are you all right?" Kenneth took an embroidered handkerchief and solicitously wiped my face, causing my father, who was trying to drink tea to calm himself, to spray another mouthful onto my face. This really could not be blamed on him. Who told Kenneth to have a nickname that made listeners' spines run cold? The god of death, looking at him right now, was indeed somewhat of an eyesore. By day, I played the husband and Kenneth played the wife. By night, the roles were reversed. Outside, the world rumored that the great Chen family son was extraordinarily vigorous, losing nothing to the warlords of the frontier, and that the second miss of the Pei family looked plump and well-nourished. Felix sent a letter home writing, "Sister Sylvia, what on earth have you done? Why is it rumored everywhere that I possess the legendary stamina of a stallion? Even if you are impersonating me, I do not need you to risk my life like that. I rubbed my waist as I wrote back. I wish you peace, brother. You can just slowly die out there. From now on, this old lady is the eldest son. A pair of arms suddenly wrapped around me from behind, naturally holding in an embrace, as a deep voice resonated. Wife, it is time to rest. Kenneth's heavy breathing blew close against my ear. Just listening to it told me nothing good was about to happen. I teared up, silently cursing my brother to be impotent, just so my resentment could be slightly appeased. Although clear that could not happen, because my brother had returned straight home. Sylvia Chen, I just met the second miss of the Pei family outside, so who on earth is the person you married? A knock sounded at the door. Husband, your concubine has made you a bowl of lotus seed and sweet osmanthus soup. Kenneth, dressed in women's attire, stepped out to open the door, coming face to face with my brother. The two of them locked eyes for a moment before my brother immediately lunged forward, shouting furiously. So it is you, Kenneth. I wondered why you invited me to drink and advised me to run away at the same time. You told me that life is precious, but love is even more valuable, and if it is for freedom, both can be discarded. It turns out this was all a trap you set, waiting for me to jump in. He screamed without pause, his voice full of grievance. Infinite stamina, is it? Calling for water 7 times a night, is it? My obedient and innocent sister has been ruined by you like this. My brother, after all, was just a frail scholar. In the end, he was easily pinned to the ground by Kenneth. However, my brother's rebellious soul refused to submit, struggling while crying miserably. My poor sister. She is ruined. Kenneth had to use 3 towels to finally gag my brother's mouth before speaking in a low voice. Sylvia and I, aside from exchanging horoscope cards, have completed every ritual. We have bowed to our ancestors, bowed to heaven and earth. We are legitimately husband and wife. I also had someone check our fortunes. Sylvia and I have an extremely good affinity. Once you and my sister return, she will still be my wife. Since we are husband and wife, is there anything we cannot do? I covered my face. Eating so well really left nothing to be said. I only hated these damned blushing ears that I could not hide no matter what. My brother looked at my feigned shyness with eyes that seemed to blame iron for not becoming steel, tears of pain flowing freely. But wait, just now my brother said his escape was instigated by Kenneth. I slowly turned my head to look at Kenneth. Sensing that gaze, he looked back at me. His expression was clearly guilty. In that moment of eye contact, the space seemed to sink into a prolonged silence, a silence as deep as the dead of night. Only my elder brother, after a bout of struggling, finally managed to spit out the towel and cursed angrily. Are you two flaunting your love right now? Brother, I have returned, but my sworn sister, who is now technically my sister-in-law, is still wandering outside. Therefore, while I was applying medicine to my brother, I took the opportunity to discuss how to handle things next. I was the first to speak, questioning Kenneth directly. Did you also incite Luna to run away? Unexpectedly. The young general who once roamed the battlefield shook his head with a look of grievance. I applied the medicine a bit too hard, making my brother scream in pain. Kenneth only needed to cast a single glance, and my brother immediately fell silent. However, when he turned to me, his face showed a clear look of pitiable sulking, adorable enough to make one want to give him a kiss. Naturally, I still restrained myself. I kept a straight face and continued. Then bring her back immediately. How can a marriage bestowed by the emperor be trifled with like this? If she does not like my brother, that is fine. Bring her back and she can keep male concubines if she likes. My brother looked at me with an expression of disbelief and asked, I am your biological brother, right? I did not answer, only turning to continue speaking to Kenneth. Can you bring Luna back? Kenneth replied in a completely irrelevant manner. Sylvia, I will not take a concubine, and you are not allowed to keep male favorites. That is fair indeed, but that is not the issue here. I tapped lightly on his forehead, my voice stern. I told you to call Luna back here. Kenneth lowered his head, his long eyelashes drooping to cast a faint shadow. She has had her own opinions since childhood. She was the first to run away. I was merely the one who incited your brother to run away as well, and then told your brother to pull you in to take his place in the marriage. That way, you would belong to me. In the room, several snorting sounds were heard. My brother interrupted, full of dissatisfaction. Stop showing off your affection. Speak clearly. What exactly should we do now? Without needing to think, I immediately replied. Easy. Brother and Kenneth can just temporarily live together as a couple. Two voices rang out at the same time. My brother screamed. Sylvia, are you crazy? This is not the land of Bashu. I do not have that hobby. While Kenneth spoke sternly. Sylvia, I am your husband. Unfortunately, that proposal did not succeed, because my mother heard the news and rushed in, promptly locking my brother in the woodshed. As the door bar fell, I pulled my mother's hand and asked boldly, Mother, do you really want me to continue pretending to be your brother? Even though our faces are similar, I am a full half, head shorter than him. How do I explain if outsiders ask? My mother glanced at me with a look of disdain and said, Just say you used to wear platform shoes. After saying that, my mother suddenly seemed to have an epiphany. Right, you just wear platform shoes. Receiving the pair of platform shoes mother prepared for me to continue impersonating my brother, I blurted out, Indeed a master. Thank you for your kindness, but calling these platform shoes is an understatement. They should be called stilts. Half a month after the wedding, I tried to refuse every invitation from my brother's group of hooligan friends, yet in the end, I could not avoid them coming to the door themselves. When that group saw Kenneth, the tallest person in the room, pretending to be his own sister, they let out sincere exclamations of admiration. Truly a tiger daughter born of a general's family, this height surpasses even men. The physique is truly admirable. Long legs, slim waist, broad shoulders, narrow hips. I know I made a mistake. That is a compliment for men. I mean to say, Larry Lai hesitated for a moment before correcting himself. Easy for childbearing. Yes, easy for childbearing. With compliments like that, it would have been better not to speak at all. After a few polite remarks, Tom, Larry, and Wang Mazi dragged me to a secluded spot. Tom Zhang laughed fawningly, his face full of ingratiation. Brother Chen, lately you truly have beauty in your arms. You look positively radiant. I brushed Tom's hand off my shoulder and replied coldly, If you have something to say it fast. If you have something to say, spit it out. However, Tom began to stammer, his face turning suspiciously red. What is this? Does he want to play cut-sleeve with my brother? Fortunately, he explained in time. I heard Brother Chen is extraordinarily vigorous. Little brother specifically came here to learn the Tao of nourishment, especially regarding that matter. I waved my hand, barely maintaining the elegant appearance of a gentleman. I do not have it. Get out. Tom had hurt one of my sworn sisters last year. I considered this an opportunity for revenge. I must wait for an occasion to gather the sisters and gossip about this, until the lotus flowers wilt. Tom cannot perform. It is just a pity that the damned Kenneth does not know where he ran off to. Larry hurriedly intervened to smooth the atmosphere. Brother Chen, people rumor that you can recreate that legendary endurance of yours. Is this true? Can you demonstrate it for us to see? I possess no such ability, but facing their overflowing expectant gazes, I still secretly looked down at that spot, praying silently in my heart. Damn it, grow out quickly. Clearly, this thing is like money. If it is in your destiny, you will have it. If not, forcing it is useless. So, I had to answer Larry honestly. I am impotent. Not having it is equivalent to being impotent. I see nothing wrong with that statement. But Larry looked at me with disbelief and continued. Brother Chen is truly too humble. Your glorious achievements have already spread throughout the capital. He and the others took turns praising me ceaselessly. This is fame. When fame reaches its peak, great scholars will naturally stand up to defend me. After seeing off my brother's hooligan friends, I turned back to see Kenneth wearing a red cloak and a jade hairpin, leaning against the railing in the pavilion, leisurely feeding the fish. His face, lightly touched with powder, tilted under the sunlight, beautiful enough to startle one's soul. This appearance, whether as a man or a woman, was excessively outstanding. Kenneth turned his head, looking at me with eyes full of resentment. Do you still remember the way back? At that moment, I suddenly felt like I was playing a bizarre game of four-way love. A feeling that simultaneously intertwined romance between a man and woman, brotherhood, the bond of confidence, and a vague affection that was hard to name. Kenneth was actually very easy to coax, it was just that his legs were a bit sore the next day. But sore legs or not, we still had to receive the imperial decree. The decree ordered my brother to Lingnan. Or rather, accurately speaking, it sent my brother to Lingnan for disaster relief. And the Marshal General arranged to accompany my brother happened to be Kenneth. He changed back into men's clothing and climbed the wall back to his own home to receive the decree, while I discussed with my father whether I should switch identities back with my brother before setting off. Looking at the chaotic situation and the severe shortage of manpower, Father patted my shoulder, his tone full of deep meaning. You and your brother are truly two useless children. Father, do you have any respect? Father sighed, covering his face with his hand before adding. But you are still slightly better than your brother. Aside from being gluttonous, lustful, and liking to show off, you have no other major flaws. Being mediocre has the benefits of being mediocre. Just follow the books of the sages and you will be fine. I really wanted to say that this kind of compliment could not make anyone happy, but father looked at me with extremely sincere eyes, continuing to pat my shoulder, his voice firm. Disaster relief is a major matter concerning the people's livelihood. The ancestors of the Chen family need you. The emperor needs you. The common people of Lingnan also need you. Ah, my father is really fired up. That was a speech full of passion and overflowing tears, but I cannot swallow this trick. I pouted and shook my head, my face full of disdain. I am not going, father replied coldly. I will remove your name from the family tree. I immediately changed my tone. Departing right now. Kenneth donned his battle armor, leading the troops to wait for me at the city gate. The young general with his hair tied high was truly eye-catching. It was just a pity that I was not in the mood to appreciate it, because men right now only slowed down the speed of my blade. I shortened the journey of over 10 days to Lingnan by half. Afterward, I immediately set to work building dikes, repairing dams, opening granaries, and stabilizing order. I dared not be corrupt. I even secretly emptied my own private treasury to make up for the deficit. Of course, the thing being emptied was my brother's treasury, since it was under his name anyway. Finally, 3 months passed, and Lingnan regained its vitality. That night, Kenneth entered my room to help massage my shoulders and back, but the more he massaged, the more restless his hands became. Wife, the natural disaster has passed, and the refugees have been settled properly. I tilted my head, glancing back to ask. Yes, so what does that have to do with you touching me? Your husband has abstained for nearly 4 months, over 120 days. Does my wife know that I have difficulty sleeping every night? Kenneth at this moment was completely different from his stern appearance while supervising during the day. On the contrary, he put on an extremely pitiful act. I have a virtue since childhood, which is being very straightforward. You find it hard to sleep at night because I supervise during the day, while you also go supervise at night. You cannot just sit there and sleep. Kenneth choked on his words, momentarily unable to utter a single sentence. In the end, I peacefully drifted into a sweet sleep, while he was completely unsatisfied. The next night, Kenneth came again, draped in the most fashionable brocade robe of the current times, dressed gaudily like a male peacock trying hard to find a mate. Before I could open my mouth to refuse, with a light pull, the layer of luxurious clothing fell to the ground, revealing firm, powerful muscles, pectorals, abs, and a scene not suitable for children. No wonder his subordinates whispered to me that Kenneth had secretly met with the top male courtesan of the Southern Wind House a long time ago, whispering questions for a whole hour. When he left, he even took a set of brocade robes. It turns out he was learning seduction tricks from those foxes. Truly clumsy, but considering he put in the effort for me, it counts as having heart. Today, let us consider it a celebration of this man's successful seduction. Near morning, I gently pushed Kenneth, who seemed unsatisfied and was still hugging me, crying and complaining. Boo-hoo, beauty is truly harmful to people. Before returning to the capital, Kenneth and I were none other than the subjects of hot rumors revolving around my brother and him. Because I returned here in my brother's identity, and throughout the time of disaster relief, Kenneth sneaked into my room every night. The unintentional, intimate gestures between him and me were misunderstood by outsiders as an ambiguous relationship between my brother and Kenneth. Do not ask why I knew about the capital's affairs while still in Lingnan, because my brother sent another letter. Without any politeness, he played his ace right at the opening. Sylvia, tell me why people call me the good wife, brother of the Pei family's eldest son. The entire letter was thousands of words long, cursing me without missing a spot, truly the penmanship of a scholar. In it, there was a passage that made one mad with anger. I do not want to mention the nonsense between you and Kenneth, but why is it rumored everywhere that I am the one underneath? The common folk are even spreading an earth-shattering saying. They say I am practicing a system of one husband and one wife, one male and one female. What on earth have you done? I had not yet had time to reply when I received another package, passed through my mother's hands. The sender was my runaway bride's sworn sister. Luna Pei wrote a sentence on the envelope that made one not know whether to laugh or cry. Oh heavens, brother, am I your sister-in-law or is your brother my sister-in-law? Inside, she included a bag of sunflower seeds and several storybooks currently popular in the capital. Thoughtful to the point of leaving one speechless, I nibbled on sunflower seeds while flipping through each book. There was the domineering General loves deeply, General, don't, I am your brother-in-law and rebirth brother and sister fight for a husband in the burning winter. Just a glance showed a clear distinction between top and bottom, truly a disadvantage of height. But there were also bizarre things, like the book The 8-Foot General becomes a beloved wife for love, in which Kenneth was depicted as intersex. Wanting to understand the philosophy of love, I read every single word. Watching my own face turn a deep shade of crimson was enough to understand. Interesting. Truly exciting. Author, write more. While I was in the middle of reading, the book was snatched away. I looked up to face Kenneth's cold, faint smile. Is it too late to play dead now? He used action to answer that it was too late. Because he did exactly as in the book, tying me to the bed, covering my eyes, and sitting beside me reading aloud every steaming hot passage that made one blush to the ears. Suddenly, he leaned close, his breath blowing onto my face, hot to the point I did not know how to face it. His deep voice resonated in my ear. Wife, do you know there are a few things in the book we can absolutely try? Not only that, Kenneth knew how to apply them flexibly. That midnight, both my body and soul seemed to float amidst fierce waves. I wiped away tears while exclaiming that the tricks in the book were truly impressive. I had to hand it to him. As for me, I was truly like someone looking for medicine when not sick, bringing suffering upon myself. After returning to the capital to report my achievements and receive rewards, I sat on the artificial mountain in the manor, thinking about the rumors spreading throughout the capital. Then I suddenly realized that among the younger generation of the Pei and Chen families, regardless of who the rumors revolved around, I alone stood completely outside the scandal. Wonderful. The insider is hiding perfectly. I was so happy I ate 2 full bowls of rice. Looking at my slightly bulging belly, Kenneth frowned, his handsome face gradually becoming tangled. Sylvia, I have been very careful. My sister has not returned yet, and our marriage has not been made public. In the eyes of others, you are pregnant without being married, your reputation will be affected. I do not care if people speak ill of me, but I cannot bear to let them speak ill of you. Kenneth worried excessively, because in the end, the doctor only used 3 sentences to make him spend money in vain. 1. 2. Eat less. 3. Consultation fee. I laughed for 3 straight days, but 3 days later, I could no longer laugh, because the common folk began to spread a new rumor. The young miss of the Chen family, while traveling, accidentally met the son of heaven traveling incognito. The two developed feelings of admiration and were about to enter the palace together. My father is just the minister of revenue. What does his daughter have to be worthy of being empress? No, wait. My father only has one daughter, me. Does he have an illegitimate daughter outside? My train of thought was not yet finished when the manor fell into chaos, chickens flying and dogs barking. A chicken egg flew straight at me. Fortunately, Kenneth reacted quickly, pulling me away from the battlefield and jumping straight onto the roof. From the roof, he and I leisurely watched the drama. We only saw my mother chasing my father, unleashing 5 consecutive lashes of the whip. You have another daughter outside. Father held his head and ran, crying out injustice incessantly. Madam, these are all false rumors. In my whole life, I have only had you alone. Or perhaps they are talking about Sylvia. I widened my eyes innocently, raising my hand. First, lately I have gone out using my brother's identity, which is the great Chen family's son, Felix Chen. Second, I had not finished speaking, only glancing at Kenneth, and mother understood immediately. Kenneth is the #1 jealous husband of the current dynasty. How could he let me have someone else? Father suddenly slapped his forehead, uttering a sentence full of horror. It is not Sylvia, so it's Felix. Heaven has eyes. The Chen family has prospered. Becoming the prime minister is only a matter of tomorrow. As he spoke, father kowtowed twice. I thought father was joking. Unexpectedly, that night my brother, who was being locked in the study to read, was taken to be washed clean, packed carefully, and sent directly into the palace. This father, anyone who uses him would give a 5-star rating, but only if delivered 1 star at a time. Thinking carefully, if my brother became a male empress, the benefits would be many and the harm little. The crime of deceiving the emperor would just be a matter of my brother blowing a little pillow talk into the emperor's ear. Moreover, could I not use my identity as a woman to enter the court as an official? Being both an imperial relative and having a father as a minister, life would truly be as easy as turning over a hand. Because I was too excited, I stayed up all night writing a career plan 10,000 words long. The plan clearly stated: first, serve as prime minister for a while in father's place. Wait until my wings are full, I will depose father and become prime minister myself. This plan has to be called perfect. In the past, there were princesses marrying for peace. Today there is my brother entering the palace. If we speak of contribution, men and women must both have responsibility. I hugged the career plan, smiling with satisfaction. Even in my dreams I saw the officials praising me. General Chen is truly young and talented, not arrogant. Lord Chen is indeed of dragon appearance and phoenix posture, not comparable to ordinary mortals. General Chen's talent is outstanding, losing nothing to Chen Daoyan, comparable to Shangguan Wan'er, the #1 talented woman of 1,000 autumns, bearing the demeanor of Empress Lu. My mouth could not close. My persona humbly said, you flatter me, but my face smiled until it was stiff. In reality, Kenneth had just finished his shift. He wore women's clothing, climbed the wall into the manor, and crawled straight into my blanket. What is it? You are smiling so happily even in your dream. I woke up with a start, glaring at him. Kenneth just thought that I had a bad habit of waking up early, so he kissed my lips a few times, coaxing gently. I will take you to buy jewelry. I was still angry. He changed his method. I will take you to eat at the restaurant in the South City. I immediately changed my expression, giving him a kiss. My husband is truly good. Kenneth greatly enjoyed my initiative. While chatting idly, he asked, speaking of which, was Felix not locked in the study? Why was he thrown out of the palace this morning? This sentence was like a bolt of lightning hitting my ears, my beautiful dream shattered. At that moment, I suddenly understood the feelings of Zhuge Liang. The late emperor's career was still unfinished, yet it collapsed halfway. So who on earth is the Chen family young missing in the rumors? Lowering the head is 1 slash, shrinking the neck is 2 slashes. Doom is inevitable. I cannot let my reputation be ruined unjustly, even though I have no reputation left to lose. At this moment my mother slowly told me a fact. I almost forgot to tell you. My runaway prospective daughter-in-law is also the young miss of the Pei family, the person close to you since childhood. Her letter was sent from inside the palace. There are many who harm their parents, but those who harm their own daughters are truly rare. I hugged my mother, crying and screaming. My biological mother, why did you not wait until I was dead to tell me? I disguised myself as my brother, leading Kenneth, who was pretending to be his own sister, into the palace. The little emperor looked at Kenneth in women's attire and praised admiringly. Madame Chen is a bit tall, but truly very beautiful. Speaking of which, she has features resembling an old acquaintance of ours. At that moment, I was scared out of my wits. I thought the little emperor had discovered Kenneth's secret, but the emperor's next sentence proved I had worried too much. Beloved subject Chen, Madame Chen, the person we mentioned is your little sister, Sylvia. She is our heart's desire. The only person who resembles Kenneth and dares to impersonate me. It can only be Luna, that little thief. I immediately remembered that when we were young, every time she did something bad, she would use my name, causing my father to misunderstand that my clever head was frequently used to play mischief. I should have thought of this sooner. The little emperor looked younger than Luna by 1 or 2 years, bearing the appearance of an innocent boy who had just fallen into the net of love, speaking with full shyness. Listening to the old folks in the palace say, being together for a long time, people will look more and more alike. Today we have finally been enlightened. I just want to say that in this world, my intelligence is enough to be prime minister. I saw the frown clearly appearing on Kenneth's face. That expression seemed to want to blurt out, Your Majesty is in trouble. But I paid no mind. An unintelligent emperor also has ways to be used, one must know how to guide him. Using the excuse of helping the emperor pursue the person in his heart, I finally confessed the crime of deceiving the emperor. It was just that when retelling it, I shifted all the blame onto the person the emperor liked. The little emperor listened in a daze, his innocent, glistening eyes blinking ceaselessly. So it was not Sister Chen but Sister Pei. I nodded, continuing to guide his train of thought. The little emperor nodded repeatedly, even praising Luna. Sister Pei is truly brave. We seem to love Sister Pei even more. The matter of deceiving the emperor was considered settled here. I was even arranged into the Hanlin Academy. Indeed, I also have the potential to become a wise minister of the world. The emperor retracted the marriage decree. The marriage between my brother and my sworn sister was annulled, but immediately after, the emperor bestowed a marriage for me and Kenneth. Finally, I could legitimately marry Kenneth. I was extremely joyful. After all, besides my father, Kenneth is the second man who did not force me to be bound within the boudoir. When delivering the betrothal gifts, Kenneth held my hand, seriously promising my father-in-law. Since childhood, my parents taught me and my sister that women should also have their own ambitions. Therefore, I guarantee I will never bind Sylvia. Father nodded with satisfaction, but still did not forget to remind me. He speaks very correctly. But good daughter, just let go of the matter of becoming a female prime minister. I fear the country would perish sooner or later. Father, you look down on your daughter too much. What level am I? I deserve to be one of the 10 outstanding youths of the court. On what grounds? Father, who was once the top scholar, replied full of poetic inspiration. Good daughter, your road is simply paved flat. I took out the imperial edict of reward, shaking it in front of my father's face a few times, then slowly opened it, reading every word. Finally, I smiled with a smirk, exuding the demeanor of a dragon king. This thing, father, have you ever seen it? Father was deeply shaken. I continued to show off. Father, your steel still has impurities. It needs more tempering. Who died of happiness need not be said. I went to get married happily. This time it was my turn to be the bride. When the red veil was lifted, I looked up at Kenneth in red robes, his face like crowned jade, both handsome and carrying the wild aura of a martial artist. He perfectly matched the model of the young general I had once dreamed of. I unconsciously swallowed my saliva. Caught by him, he teased me endlessly. Wife, are you craving something? Before being with Kenneth, I had very rich theories, let alone now that I have tasted the flavor of lovemaking. I fully understood the true meaning in his words, but today was, after all, the day I remarried. Or rather, the second time marrying the same person, so I could not help but be a little shy. Even so, answering or not answering made no difference. Kenneth's eyes looked at me as if wanting to swallow me whole. Finally, I drowned in the sea of desire, leaving only the red candles burning through the night. After marrying into the Pei family, I discovered Kenneth was even more unrestrained. Whether people were present or not, he clung to me, calling me wife or my lady. The old butler had not yet had time to open his mouth when I blocked his words. I do not want to hear sentences like "it has been a long time since I saw the young general smile so happily." The butler, having his line predicted by me, burned with anger in his eyes. He intended to continue speaking but was blocked by me again. I also do not want to hear the sentence, "Madam, you are the first woman the young general has brought home." The butler stomped away in anger, swearing he would read all 300 storybooks to fight 800 rounds with me. Kenneth burst out laughing. It was very rare for him to laugh so freely. His handsome brows relaxed, making me stare in a daze. Kenneth realized this and scratched his face in embarrassment. Wife, is there something on my face? That feeling of being handsome but not realizing it. I like it to death. After marriage, I had thought of countless obstacles that Kenneth and I might face. For example, the issue of educating our children leading to Dragon and Phoenix flying together, but crashing together. Or Kenneth being injured on the battlefield and me having to take leave to care for him. Or perhaps me remaining unused in the officialdom, still unable to become a female prime minister. But I never thought of the little emperor, white on the outside, but black on the inside, begging us to help him act out a play because he failed to pursue Luna. He wanted to play forced love, needing Kenneth and me to act out a scene of sitting in prison. Actually, there was another choice. Sitting in prison was truly a wonderful problem that was hard to choose. People often say, "Better him than me," as the saying goes. As long as I live, it is fine. After hesitating for a full 3 seconds, telling myself, when the ruler wants the subject to die, the subject cannot not die. We act as subjects and must share the burden with the monarch. Thinking so, I immediately sold out Luna. Your Majesty, your subject chooses to act out the prison scene. The little emperor nodded with satisfaction, then turned to Kenneth. Kenneth bowed. Your Majesty also knows that the Pei family has always been run by Madame. The little emperor was even more satisfied. In those young eyes appeared the fake intelligence of a teenager trying to imitate the overbearing emperor style but failing. In the prison, I glared at Kenneth, blaming him for selling his sister so fast. This dog emperor, to increase the realism, issued authentic prisoner clothes to Kenneth and me. The early spring weather was unusually warm and cold. I had been afraid of the cold since childhood, involuntarily curling up. Kenneth realized this and pulled me into his arms, the feeling exactly like curling up in a warm blanket. I could not help but rub against him. Kenneth laughed deeply. My wife sold her out no slower than I did. Actually, regarding Luna's thoughts, Kenneth and I both silently understood clearly. Luna volunteering to stay in the palace was because she had feelings for the little emperor. As for why she had not agreed yet, it was certainly because Luna felt that if she agreed too quickly, the little emperor would not know how to cherish her. We used our bodies as a bridge in other people's love games, mainly because if we did not sacrifice ourselves, we would be forced to sacrifice. This feeling of damned destiny. In a dilapidated prison with a broken bed, I huddled in Kenneth's warm and soft embrace. Before my thoughts have finished, a familiar voice suddenly rang out from the side. Why are you two everywhere? Turning to look, it turned out to be the fellow prisoner sitting in the adjacent cell. Oh, an acquaintance. My brother. I could not help but burst out laughing. Laughing enough, I asked. Brother, what crime did you commit? My brother gritted his teeth, unable to bite, so he ground them even more. Luna, that dog head, told the emperor she still had feelings for me. The emperor immediately dug up my crimes, forcing me to stay here for 7 days. Can you believe it? What lingering feelings do she and I have? I am so unjustly accused, oh heavens. My brother is indeed the person who always walks past the love of the whole world. Posterity calls him the love security guard. My brother finished his prison term, but Luna still refused to nod, so Kenneth and I continued to be locked in this empty prison. Perhaps because the atmosphere was suitable, or perhaps because emotions surged, I sat in Kenneth's lap and started asking all sorts of things. When did you like me? Kenneth thought for a very long time before answering. Perhaps because my sister frequently praised you. Praising so much that I wanted to meet you. Meeting you, I thought, how can there be such an interesting woman in the world? In the end, I just wanted to keep you for myself. I liked this answer very much, but that does not stop the next question that appeared in my head. Then why did you not propose directly? Kenneth pinched my cheek, smiling. At first, I wanted to use new war merits to marry you, but that year I fought too fiercely, the enemy was so scared they dared not invade. No other way. I just thought universal peace is also good. I can slowly plan. Who knew the title, God of Death, was too resounding? You avoided me whenever you saw me. I dared not explain. Kenneth paused. Actually, I did not avoid him out of fear, but because during that time I was obsessed with his body. Seeing him simply made me blush. Not realizing my abnormality, Kenneth was still immersed in memories. But heaven gave me a golden opportunity. I thought if I did not grasp it, I would truly not be worthy of being a man, so I came. And you, Sylvia, was it because of force, or were you truly slightly moved by me? My hand was placed on his chest. I could feel the hot beat from his heart. The fire in my heart seemed to be lit. I recalled the year I was 15, getting lost in the harem during a palace banquet as the sky gradually darkened. That day I had just finished reading Record of Evil Spirits in the Palace. The sound of cats meowing made me associate it with countless concubines who raised cats and died unjustly. Tears welled up in the corners of my eyes, about to spill over, but I saw a young man looking for me. It seemed to be Luna's elder brother. The young man found me, sighing in relief. We were all looking for you. At that time, he was already a young general with some fame. Usually, he always carried a majestic aura, but that day he comforted me gently. It is all right. Do not be afraid. Brother will take you back. I grasped the corner of the young man's shirt, walking through the zigzag corridors, past pavilions and towers. Occasionally fireflies flew up and vanished into the bushes. Under the moonlight, I thought that following him like this for a lifetime would be good, but the young man's war merits grew more and more. Many noble ladies in the capital had their eyes on a man as talented and handsome as him. I began to worry and feel insecure, locking myself in my room for half a month. Finally, I thought, compared to obsessing over the vague sincerity of a man, it is better to read books. So I hid my feelings. Perhaps waiting too long without an answer, Kenneth began to worry, calling softly. Sylvia. I responded. Like you. Why would I not like you? If I did not like you, I would not have agreed so quickly. Far away, the sound of firecrackers rang out. Kenneth tested the waters, finally placing a light kiss on my lips. Just as things were peaceful, an unexpected event occurred. As the kiss deepened, my brother's voice rang out like a broken speaker in the prison. What are you two doing there? We had not yet had time to answer when he lowered his head, muttering. Damn it, why did I forget these two are already married? The jailer came to announce. Lord Chen, Your brother was forced to watch your public displays of affection for 7 days. Upon release, he lit firecrackers to celebrate right in front of the prison gate, so he was arrested again. The jailer even reminded my brother that the prison gate is a prohibited area for firecrackers. Violation results in 3 days of detention. I laughed until my stomach almost broke. I even got out of prison earlier than my brother, because Luna nodded. My sworn sister became empress. I also got to experience the feeling of, when a man gets to the top, all his friends and relations get there with him. One day, I entered the palace to visit Luna. Luna secretly told me, "Do you know why after your coming-of-age ceremony, no one dared to propose to you?" At that time, I was struggling with a crab dish meant as tribute from the South Sea. Raising my head from the pile of crab meat, I answered, "Because I am too different from others. I do not follow common logic." Luna was annoyed, knocking on my forehead. "You are truly simple beyond cure. No matter how different you are the daughter of the minister's manor, and have a brother who is a vice minister. The people coming to propose would certainly not be few. Guess again." The crab meat was truly delicious, plus the skill of the imperial kitchen fascinated me. I chewed the crab meat while answering indifferently, perhaps because my father is unreliable. Seeing me eating happily, Luna ordered another portion of crab and explained, "It is because those who intended to come were all scared away by my brother. At that time, he almost stood guard for 12 hours straight in front of your house. Fortunately, in the end, his wish was fulfilled." The crab meat in my mouth made me choke. I hurriedly put down my chopsticks and ran home. Kenneth was practicing swordsmanship. The sword light flashed. He was the most majestic young general on the battlefield. Seeing me return, he lowered his sword, pulling me into his embrace. "Why are you back already?" Actually, I'd not know why I definitely had to return. Perhaps at that moment, I just wanted to see him. Very much. I said many embarrassing words. The things that happened after that I do not remember clearly. I only remember that day. The spring weather was strangely beautiful. Flowers in the courtyard bloomed fully, petal by petal falling all over us. Extra. A small story from Kenneth's perspective, a lifetime of affection, even in jest. Only once did Kenneth lie to Sylvia. That was when she asked why he liked her. He dared not tell the truth, afraid that she would think him shallow. Actually, when hearing that question, the first image that jumped in his mind was the year he was 18. He accepted his sister's request to go find her sworn sister. That was a young lady he had previously seen from afar. When he found her, the young lady was frightened because a cat had startled her. Even so, she stubbornly refused to cry, her teeth clenched tight, her large round eyes brimming with water, covered by a layer of mist. Kenneth looked into those eyes, as if looking straight into the rainy season of Jongnan. And then, one look, a lifetime of lingering attachment. The story ends here for now. If it touched your heart or left you thinking, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share Raccoon Tale to help more stories come to life. See you in the next tale.